So here we've got a typical example of the testing strips which we'll use to test the water, and the colour-coded spectrum here which tests for all of alkalinity, pH and chlorine and or bromine, depending on your preference there. And you can see here hot tub and spa okay quite typically. The alkalinity being okay between 80 and 140. The pH when adjusted to 7.2 to 7.6, and the chlorine or bromine to sit between 3 and 5 on that spectrum, within which you should find the testing strip which matches up to the bottle. Not quite when it's not been submerged. However, when submerging into the tub for just a couple of seconds, we should start to see the colours change. Importantly, don't pop this testing strip back in with the others. You'll soak the rest of them and they'll be deemed unusable. So when adding chemicals to be able to improve our water quality, it's always important that we do so in small doses. It's important that we add small doses so we can always add more rather than try and take away. Because of course we know if we're adding great amounts of something, it's going to be really hard to retract from this water. Whereas small amounts of a chemical can often dilute into the mix and improve gradually over time. When adding granulated chemicals to the mix, it's important perhaps that the tub's above 27 degrees. This is where the granules are going to dissolve in best. If of course you're running the tub much lower than this and wanting to add granulated chemicals, they may not dissolve into the mix. Therefore, what I'd recommend is inside the kitchen, perhaps you'll have a glass, and specifically glass container, to be able to dissolve the chemicals down in warm water first, before adding them as a liquid into the main body. And always when adding chemicals, run the jet pumps individually to ensure it's shaken and not stirred, of course. The 15-minute maximum on the jet pumps will allow that to mix quite adequately. So therefore 15 minutes of those jet pumps running, you can walk away safe in the knowledge that it's mixing away and come back to test the water once more to make sure that the right adjustments have been made. So now the colours have started to change, we can see that we are riding more or less okay in alkalinity there, which is where I'd start, down at the bottom there with the alkalinity. So if this was to be adjusted, we'd see a high alkalinity reading, which typically represents hard water areas. So in hard water areas, lime scale can be produced. So what's going to be needed there to reduce the alkalinity would be an anti-scale or scale inhibitor, as we know it. That would reduce the alkalinity. To improve the alkalinity, so say for example we're sat down here, we'd need the total alkalinity increaser as a chemical. These two chemicals are not included in our starter packs, purely because we cannot preempt where you are in terms of the water area you live. So therefore the alkalinity may be specific to your water area. When moving on to the pH, it's important to adjust these levels reading to 7.2 and 7.6, and that's hot tub and spa okay use, as we can see there. When these readings are high, or of course too low, we can remedy with the pH plus and the pH minus found in the starter packs online, or of course included in your initial purchase. pH plus to take it up, pH minus to take it down. And finally, on this testing strip, we're testing for bromine and or chlorine. For sanitary purposes, bromine and or chlorine will kill off that bacteria produced. Now to be okay for hot tub use, we see the spectrum there is 3 to 5 in a mild pink. The colours may vary with bromine. However, with chlorine, we'd associate the colours and the numbers to be a suitable using mix for humans. If this was too harsh, then of course it might be quite harsh on your skin, which we'd have to wait for the tub to mellow down. To improve mellowing, we can add fresh water to over-concentrate the chlorine to bring that back down, or of course we can leave the lid open to improve the fact that the chlorine is going to evaporate quite naturally when the temperatures are up. This tub we can see has near no chlorine. Of course it's time to add some.